the heartbeat that broke the silence. Dylan Wang's tears in a moment of pure emotional cinema. The waiting room was hushed. Bai Lu sat clasping a thin hospital gown, her nerves a delicate butterfly fluttering within. Across from her, Dylan Wang's broad shoulders trembled just slightly, his face a canvas of tension, anticipation, and excruciating hope. A single thought pulsed through both their minds. Is there truly life inside? The soft hum of medical machinery felt deafening in its quietness. The nurse guided Bai Lu's hand to her belly, and the ultrasound wand glided over her skin. The flickering black and white screen revealed a delicate shape, and then, a rhythmic whoosh, the heartbeat. A living drumbeat, small yet booming, echoing through two hearts at once. It was the kind of moment movies dream of, a heartbeat that lingers, echoing in your chest. Scene 1. The slow unraveling of emotion. The camera, or in our minds, the lens, lingered on Dylan's eyes. At first, he didn't blink. It was as if time held its breath alongside him. Then a single tear broke free, cascading down his cheek. His breath hitched, half exhale, half sob. Bai Lu's hand flew to her mouth in a reflex of pure wonder, her eyes glistening. She looked at Dylan, whose composure was cracking. Their hands found each other, fingers entwined, sweat mingling with tears and hope. That moment transcended words. It became something more than an announcement. It was a symphony of love, fear, hope, and awe. Scene 2. The flashback montage. How we got here. Soft piano. Flashback. Day 1. Studio laughter. Dylan and Bai Lu filming only for love, teasing each other between takes, a world of shared jokes and fleeting glances that hinted at something deeper. Their chemistry was undeniable, lighting up screens and behind the scenes alike. Jane Stars. CPOP home. Variety show escapade. On Keep Running, they chased each other, laughed through mud, and covered faces in coal-black mud, but in each chaotic moment, their bond shone. Jane Stars. Philosophy. Rumors and reflection. Tabloids whispered about hugs and cozy dinners. Fans speculated, but outside cameras, they remained steadfast friends, supporting each other's work with heartfelt respect. Lintern. Jane Stars. All these moments coalesced into a relationship rooted not only in shared screens, but in shared experiences, growing stronger with every laugh, every scene, every vulnerable moment. Scene 3. Back to the present, a quiet aftermath. The ultrasound probe is tucked away. The nurse smiles and steps back, allowing the couple space. Time flows again. Dylan stands slowly, gently helping Bai Lu up. He brushes away a tear and forces a shaky smile, one that's equal parts joy and astonishment. They walk out into the hospital corridor together. The sterile fluorescent lights look different now, softer, more tender. Without speaking, they lean into each other, forehead to forehead. His voice is mere breath. We made that, you're making us. Tears continue, hers trailing down her cheeks, his brimming again. But this time, they carry a new depth. Awe, gratitude, love made tangible by the rhythm of a tiny heart. Scene 4. Imagining the future in small moments. Let's dream. Nighttime whispers. They lie side by side, talking to the bump. Dylan recounts their drama work from years ago. Bai Lu laughs mid-sentence and the baby kicks in sync. First, tiny outfits. They sift through pink or blue onesies, arguing over pastel and patterns. Dylan places one on the bed and pretends it suits the baby. Bai Lu shushes him, half giggle, half exasperation. Quiet dinners at home. Their reflections on the day's shoot mirrored in dimly lit rooms, both glancing at the growing bump with soft smiles. The world outside could collapse, and in that moment, all that mattered was their shared breath and beating hearts. Why this scene resonates. Beyond dramatic flair, this moment speaks to a universal truth, the tender vulnerability that emerges when one is transformed by love. Dylan and Bai Lu, whose chemistry on screen has sparked viral reactions and enthusiastic support, both from fans and in news articles. Jane Stars. +1. CPOP Home. Embody the perfect classic. Two stars drawn together in the glow of something bigger than themselves. As fans on Reddit have reflected, Bai Lu and Dylan Wang's chemistry is better in real life, off-screen. Reddit. The way Bai Lu laughed with him was so endearing to watch. Reddit. This heartbeat scene would be the apex of that bond. Real emotion, real stakes, captured in a single, breath-stopping moment. Final echoes. 2,000 words could scarcely capture all the nuance, devotion, and cinematic beauty of this imagined moment. But there, between the sound of a heartbeat, the glint of tears, and the space between two people's breath, lies a world. A world where love is unveiled not in grand confessions, but in shared wonder at life's smallest marvels. And so the article closes on that pulse, a tiny heart, echoing through the heartbeat that broke the silence. Extended scene. The lights inside the examination room were dim, but the anticipation burned bright. Dylan Wang stood by Bai Lu's side, his usually playful, composed expression replaced with something unrecognizable. Fear, wonder, and a vulnerability so raw it was almost painful to watch. This wasn't the red carpet Dylan, the actor, the idolized figure millions adored. This was a man on the precipice of something extraordinary, about to meet his child for the very first time, through sound. The gel on Bai Lu's stomach was cool. She flinched slightly, eyes wide, her hand instinctively reaching for Dylan's. Without hesitation, he grasped it tightly. Their fingers laced together, white-knuckled. The sonographer smiled gently. Ready? Bai Lu gave a small nod. Dylan couldn't speak. He swallowed hard, his throat thick with emotion. Then it happened. Wump wump, wump wump, wump wump. A soft rhythmic thudding filled the room, like a tiny drumbeat from another world. But this world was very much theirs. The heartbeat wasn't coming from a machine or a screen. It was real. It was their baby. And that's when Dylan broke. Tears like thunder in a whispering room. At first, it was just a single tear. It slipped down the sharp edge of his cheekbone like a silent whisper of disbelief. His mouth parted slightly, not to speak, but simply to breathe, as if remembering how to. Then came the second tear. Then the third. And soon, Dylan's face was wet with emotion, his chest rising and falling in shallow breaths, his free hand trembling by his side. He turned toward Bai Lu, who was watching him through tears of her own now, her face both astonished and deeply moved. She had never seen him like this. "That's our baby," he whispered, his voice cracking. The sonographer nodded. 7 weeks. Healthy heartbeat. Dylan laughed, a shaky, overwhelmed sound, and covered his mouth with the back of his hand, trying to hold back a sob. But the emotion wasn't sadness. It was something too large, too glorious for one word. "I didn't think I'd feel it like this," he finally managed. Frozen in a moment that changed everything. The screen displayed a grainy black and white blur, an almond-sized flicker where the baby's heart pulsed steadily. To the outside world, it would have looked like a tiny smudge on a screen. But to them, it was a universe beginning. Bai Lu turned her head slightly toward Dylan. "You okay?" He laughed again, eyes never leaving the screen.
No.
"I'm not okay. I think I just fell in love again." Her hand squeezed his. They both stayed silent for a long beat, just listening. The heartbeat was hypnotic, like the rhythm of a lullaby only they could hear. It wasn't loud, yet it filled every inch of the room, of their hearts, of the space between them. A scene straight out of a dream. Imagine this as a film scene. Dylan, tears flowing but smiling. That rare, genuine smile where his entire face softens, where the public persona dissolves. Bai Lu, radiant and vulnerable, lying on the table with love swimming in her eyes. The nurse discreetly steps out of the room, giving them privacy. The world outside that hospital door didn't exist anymore. No press, no cameras, no scripts. Only the sound of life, the smallest, mightiest heartbeat in the universe. And then, in a moment so tender it could shatter hearts, Dylan leaned down and pressed his lips gently to Bai Lu's forehead. "Thank you," he whispered, "for giving me this." She didn't answer. She couldn't. Tears rolled down the sides of her face and disappeared into her hair. The breakdown and the breakthrough. Dylan stepped back for a moment, needing space, but not to run. He turned his back to them both, hands braced on the windowsill, body slightly shaking. You could see him fighting for composure, for breath. He wasn't just crying from joy. There was fear in there, too. The gravity of what this meant. The responsibility. The enormity of becoming a father. But when he turned back, the tears were still there. And so was something else. A kind of peace. He walked back to Bai Lu and placed his hand gently on her stomach, fingers trembling, almost afraid to touch. "I heard it," he said softly. "I heard our baby. And I swear, I'll never forget that sound for the rest of my life." The magic in the mundane. They didn't talk much after that. They sat in the car outside the clinic for nearly 20 minutes, just holding hands in silence, letting the moment sink in. At one point, Dylan chuckled, wiping his face. "You know, I used to think my best day was getting cast in Meteor Garden. Then only for love. But today, this just beat all of that. Literally." Bai Lu turned to him, teasing gently. "You cried. Like a drama lead in episode 24. "I am the drama," he shot back, grinning through his tears. Laughter. More tears. Kisses. The promise of something new. Why this scene stays with us. For fans of Dylan Wang and Bai Lu, and even those who simply admire stories of love and vulnerability, this moment was a cinematic masterpiece of real life. It wasn't planned. It wasn't filtered. It was raw, unscripted, and achingly beautiful. The sound of a heartbeat shouldn't have the power to change a man. But in that moment it did. It turned an actor into a father, a co-star into a soul partner, a routine checkup into a forever memory. And for anyone lucky enough to witness it, through leaked whispers, fan accounts, or just imagination, it became a reminder of what love really looks like. Not fireworks, not grand gestures, but tears. In silence. As a tiny heart says hello to the world for the first time. If you'd like, I can continue with the next emotional chapter, such as how they shared the news, how Dylan's public image changed after this moment, or even a fictional scene of how they decorated the nursery. Let me know which direction you want the story to take. So once again, from all of us at K-Romance Central, thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe in love again, or if you just want to stay updated on every twist in this breathtaking saga, backhand index pointing right, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification button for more juicy K-drama updates. Because this is K-Romance Central, and here, we don't just report stories. We bring the romance to life. Sparkling Heart.